Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Klep's Garage. Let's see where Bruce goes today to uncover the mysteries of history and the provenance of a said 1925 American LaFrance fire engine. We'll start from the early history and end up at today's history of the return of the truck that was the second motorized vehicle of Van Wert, Ohio.
Hey, this is Bruce, Klep's Garage. Well, I got a treat for you today. We're going to come to the town of Van Wert, Ohio, and unload a 1925 American LaFrance fire engine that was Van Wert's first motorized fire truck from 1925. So 100 years later, it has showed back up. So come along, let's see how this goes.
Well, we'll start this show with a trip back to 1860 to 1870 when the population was between 1,000 and 2,000. And the city council decided to pass an ordinance to start a fire company, company number one. This picture here shows several men with the hose reel cart, the hand-drawn pumper cart, and up at the top of the picture, the hand-drawn ladder wagon. So this was set up in 1871, and there's Van Wert's first fire pumper, which ironically is still around at the Central Mutual Insurance Company Fire Museum. You can see that there if you want to look at it in person. Here's a picture of the ladder company. So the ladder company is standing outside the newly constructed City Hall and Fire Department. The ladder company was known as the Buckeye Hook and Ladder Organization. And the new City Hall you're seeing here was built in 1886. And of course, this picture is a little bit newer than that because it has both steam pumpers there, which I'll get to here in a minute. In 1887, they purchased their first new horse-drawn steam pumper. You're seeing here on the right side of the screen, 350 gallons per minute. And that was used up until about 1922. And it was built by the Aaron Fox Company out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Long-standing fire apparatus company. Here's another picture of the steamer pumping water into the Third Ward Park for an ice skating rink in the middle of the winter, so it was used for community services as well. And that steam pumper lasted up until 1922 when they dismantled it and had been in service for far too long, I guess. Here's an article about that. You can freeze frame this if you want to read it. And then in 1907, they had bought their second horse-driven steam pumper, 750 gallons per minute, by the Aaron Fox Company also. This was used, I'm not sure how long this was used till, but I think they retired it when they got the new fire trucks in 1925. However, this unit is also still around. It is at the museum, and it can be seen there and sometimes in parades. So quite a bit of history there, but that pumper still remains. Back to the city building. Here it is, a picture of it probably about 1907, 08, because both steam pumpers are in this picture. And that was really something neat to see. Moving on, now we're getting to the first motorized fire truck. In 1916, they ordered a new American LaFrance pumper rated at 350 gallons per minute with a 4-cylinder engine. The announcement of this truck was put in the local paper, told all the details. It has a speed of 1 mile an hour to 40 miles an hour and carried 1,250 foot of 2.5-inch hose with a 300-gallon chemical tank. But wait a minute, this newfangled equipment had a timely response of out with the old. Poor old Bill the horse had to retire after 14 years of service. So here's old Bill that was put to pasture, actually sold. By 1925, February the 19th exactly, the city of Van Wert entered into a contract with the American LaFrance Company to purchase 2 trucks, a pumper truck that will belong to Dave, who we're going to see later, and a ladder truck. They were both delivered by the Cincinnati and Northern Railroad, and they came in probably in June. Here's a picture of what train would look like back in the day. So when they did arrive, they had a ceremony and got all 3 trucks. The truck on the very far right is the 1917 LaFrance that they first started with. It had been reconditioned with pneumatic tires instead of solid rubber. The truck in the center is Dave's truck that ended up back in Van Wert, and the truck on the left is the big ladder truck. So it's July 4th of 1925. Let's look at the fleet, shall we? Wow, look at that. 2 new trucks on the left, the original first truck in the middle, and the 2 horse-drawn units on the right. Can you get a load of that 40-foot long, at least, ladder truck? No aerial, but just hauls ladders. I can't imagine trying to get that around a city block. Very impressive. So we'll look at a couple more pictures of the City Hall / fire station. This is circa 1928. Looks like they have a new fire chief's car. Looks like a 28 2-door sedan Ford Model A. So stepping up in the world. And then this last picture I've stuck in here is believed to be about 1932, which was the first flower festival that they started back in the day. And I think that's what we're looking at. But that's a neat picture of the fire station. So we're ready to look at the return of the ALF.
Yes, you are. No cranking going on here. This is electric start.
Yep. Yeah. I just want to see if you can make the motor go.
He's going to start it. Oh, I ain't cranking that thing. I got a weak back and a strong mind.
You got a bunch of weak parts all over. Uh-oh. Got a loose rod.
That's the bell.
Don't crank too fast.
It's put in reverse, rolling off.
Yeah, that's what I told him to do. We can always tow start it.
This is like starting Dave thinking he'll never run. Got 17 switches to move.
You holding the clutch in?
Love you, bud.
Hey, there you go.
Go ahead, Dave.
There
Get
you
up
go.
in there.
Give her a crank. Don't hurt your shoulder there.
So I'm here with Randy, and Randy's father ran this truck.
Well, he was in the fire department during the time, and he did some maintenance on it.
Okay.
But he was mostly working with the new trucks,
Okay.
the 49s.
19 and 49, last century. Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Tell me about you was a little kid and they.
Oh, I would go in there, and there was a fireman. He was a retired fireman. He was working on this, and he would chase me out of there. John Harmon. He was can tankers, but he knew what he was doing.
So let's have you touch the fender here, because now you can touch this truck. Not get kicked out of here.
I can do it then.
Yeah.
You can see that this is laid out as a 6-cylinder, but each 2 cylinders are separate blocks. So
Yes.
if you have a problem, you can disconnect that one, fix it while it's still in service. You don't have to take your truck out of service.
I've also heard that they took one of these jugs off and you can run it on just 4.
Oh, you can run it on 2 if you have to.
If you have to.
If you have to, you can run it on 2, but it's really hard on it because it's not as much. But you take that off of there and you fix the cylinder that's bad, and then you've still got it in service, because a lot of places this is the only fire truck.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Yep. Now everybody's going to have to tinkle.
I sure hope we get across these tracks. There might be a train coming. Wouldn't be complete. You can coast now.
You just tell me.
You're going to find where you're going.
The interest in this 1925 American LaFrance Type 75 triple combination pumper truck started approximately 70 years ago. As a Cub Scout, we toured the Van Wert Fire Department, and back in the corner of the fire department was this truck that caught my eye. And this was the truck that I first noticed about 70 years ago.
You're not that old, Dave.
About that same time, there was a large fire in Van Wert called the Bar 30, and I lived close to that Bar 30, and I snuck out of the house. I went up to the fire and watched it, and I was right next to this truck while I was pumping in service, fighting the Bar 30 fire. And so that always, I never forgot that. Then when I got out of college, this truck was behind the Van Wert Fire Department, the North Fire Department, for sale, and I didn't have any money to buy it. It went to Michigan, and then in 2010, it was on eBay, but the economy was bad then, and didn't have the money, so it sold, and I didn't know where it went. And about a year ago, I went to a Model T Ford Club meeting, and my friend Bruce Clevenger brought a new guy to the meeting named Rick Knife, who collected fire trucks. So I went up to Rick and said, "Hey Rick, any chance you know where Van Wert's 1925 pumper truck is?" And Rick said, "Oh yeah, Ed Hawthorne owns that down in Dallas." Well, and through Rick, we made contact with Ed, and about a year or so ago, and as things worked out, I purchased a truck from Ed, and it arrived here in Van Wert today. I owe a lot to Rick for locating the truck for me.
And Rick just happens to be here. Say hello, Rick. He's over here reading the propaganda.
Hello, Rick.
Rick, you've seen him in a couple of my other episodes. I'll put it down here below, but he's a first responder, and he knows a few things about fire trucks. So he helped us get it running. What's that?
I said you're overstating it.
Oh, well, yeah, you'll have that.
Well, when it was delivered today, there were several people showed up, the fire chief from Van Wert and others who knew about the truck and had a lot of stories. There are a lot of pictures that the Historical Society has of the truck 100 years ago. One thing of interest was this fire truck replaced a horse-drawn steam pumper, and by purchasing this truck, they was able to eliminate a team of draw horses.
Which probably sped up the process of getting to the fire, and it didn't have to maintain the horses. So, yeah, out with the old, in with the new. And then the one guy the other day said 1949 is when they replaced this truck with their new 1949 truck.
But they kept it in service until 62.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. This was in service. And you have a newspaper article on this where there was a flood here in Van Wert, and they used this to pump out the water out of basements, I believe.
Right.
I'm thinking the current fire chief might call on you again if there's ever a flood.
Well, and at that time, the fire department was in a flood zone. The fire department got flooded out, and so they moved the trucks and placed them in various spots around town so they could respond if there was a fire. This truck was stationed at the corner of Main and Jefferson, which is about a block from
where it is now.
where it is now.
Yeah. Hold him up again, Rick. So what'd you say those are the factory?
These are the factory delivery photos.
Factory delivery photos came with the truck, and also paperwork from back in 1925. Unbelievable.
There's the gold leaf corner decals I give him.
Yeah.
We were wondering if it had one in that location. Right there it is.
Right there it is. And for some reason they took off the original serial tags, but they have them in the truck.
Let me get one of them too, and I'll show you that.
So Rick brought along some gold leaf lettering stickers that can go on this truck, and that's what would have been on the original right there. Well, that's pretty neat.
Not enough for all.
So he can put this back the way it was. Well, since I'm down under here, let's look at the belly of the beast. That's the oil pan. The small fly, you'll notice the teeth are about as big as my finger. Just a little tiny flywheel. That's probably a good 18 to 20 inches in diameter. Moving on back, well, first of all, this is your oil check. This is a check the level, low level, high level, drain, I'm guessing. Imagine this thing holds quite a bit of oil. There's also a float mechanism there that shows the oil level. I don't know if you can see this or not. Light. I can get the light up here, maybe. Anyhow, that, oh, for Pete's sakes. All right, I'll try this again. There's a float in here that will show your oil level also, but it's not marked up here high and low, but that's an oil float. Another way to check your oil while the motor's running. So you can't see much back here because it has a belly pan underneath the pump. The pump mechanism is back there. And we'll move on back to the drive. So the transmission and rear axle, well, it's transaxle, I guess you'd call it, is back here. And then on each side of this transaxle is your sprockets for the chain drive down to the wheels. Look at these chains. This is kind of hard to get an idea how big this is, but yeah, there's my thumb. So each length is the size of my thumb. Just to give you an idea how big this is. Massive straight axle underneath. Well, that's hard to get the right view there. There's the other side. Just massive. For 1925, that's quite a piece of equipment. This is kind of neat. Let me turn around here. Hang on. Hold on. Okay, looking towards the front of the truck, there is the exhaust. And if you notice, there is actually a flapper valve and a whistle. So this actually has an exhaust whistle that looks to be period. So that must have been another warning device why they was going to the fire. That's interesting. I didn't know that was on these trucks. So we're on the back of the truck. Here's an interesting feature. This truck has torches. There's one on this side, and there's one. Oh, there's the bell again. Bell! And there's one on this side. So the way these work, I guess, when you get to the fire... Now, hang on. Let me do this one over here. So the way these work, according to Rick, you fill this up with whale oil or lamp oil or kerosene. And if you're at the fire and it's dark and you can't see what you're doing, you light these bad boys. It looks like the fire would probably be out by the time you got this thing unscrewed and lit it. Wow, I don't want to drop this in there. So it's just got a wick. And these are like little tiki torches on your patio, only they used them back in 1925 to see what was going on at the fire. So you bring a fire truck to a fire and light another fire. That makes sense to me. And I guess this would put it out eventually. Dave's gonna have to shine all this brass up. This should look like a mirror. There, just like that. Torches on a fire truck. Yeah, that makes sense. I get that, I think. So the back has a traditional hose bed to put your hoses at, and then of course the rear step plate for back in the day. The firefighters used to ride on this, so you could take several firefighters to the fire. Probably could get 4 guys on the back of this thing, 2 in the seat, and I'm sure they might have rode on the side if they needed to.
So here's the original sticker that was on, or placard that was on the truck from February 19th of 1925. So coming up here this February in 26, it'll be 101 years old. It finally made its way back to its original town. We did have the fire chief, the current fire chief down here to look at the truck. And he said this was one of his favorite trucks of what they had from back in the day from the pictures. Just really a neat piece of equipment. Maybe they'll call on Dave to pump some water out of somebody's basement here or something. Yeah, so here's one that somebody painted up, but this was a LaFrance wrench, multi-purpose wrench. Came with the truck. What's this one here? Spark plug. So a spark plug wrench. It even tells you right on there what it's for. Isn't that handy? Now let's get down to the bottom. Hang on a minute. Okay, we're going to move from the top tray to the bottom. Oh, look at this little honey hole of wrenches and giant sockets. I'm guessing these are for the hubs on the wheels. Ooh, here's a chain link. Need a chain link? Look at that thing. Look at that. I mean, is that a piece of chain or is that a piece of chain? You know what good this is going to do. Looks too small. Now that's a spanner wrench. That spans my whole arm. There's a mark on it. I'm sure you two guys know what that is. Like an engine wrench. 4M, 8M, and I know my friend Brent and Dan knows what that M stands for. I don't happen to have that off the top of my head. Here's the old standard part of a leaf spring used for a tire iron. I've seen many of these in my day. And this is neat. What is this? I have no idea what that's used for. I'm sure somebody does. Really neat pieces in here. Oh, come on. This is for the fire hose, Lateral Fire Hose Company, Chicago, Illinois. We need to turn those fire hoses, lock them in. Another nice piece. Another socket. Hand wrenches. Don't see any marks on these. Still in nice shape. Well, I see something that don't belong in here. That's a Model T wrench. I don't think that's belongs with this, but that's all right. A lot of special. Ooh, I wonder if that fits. I was messing with the carburetor here earlier. I didn't think about looking for a wrench in here to fit it. Guess I could have done that. Wouldn't that have been handy? Well, be dipped. This one here actually looks like it would fit what I was working on. Huh. Never thought of that, Mr. Obvious. Here's something you don't see every day. What's this say right here, boys and girls? Can you read that? Made in USA, USA. That's where we live. Amazing. Any other marks on this? Yeah. It says drop forged. Okay. Well, there you go. Look at all this treasure trove of neat stuff in here. Dave's going to have his hands full going through all this. Still can't get over the size of these chain links. That's just, that's amazing. Okay, now you've seen the tools.
I can get told that this pin is probably rusted in there, pops out, and you rotate the tank. This whole tank will rotate upside down. And the inside of it could be a glass bottle with stuff in it, with acid, and it'll drop into the water. which makes a chemical reaction and forces water out the hose through the valves into the hose right there and out the nozzle.
Huh.
Then once it's depleted, it'll make 200-300 pounds of pressure. Once that water, 30 gallons, is depleted, then you have to, of course, stop, and you have to fill it full of water again, put more soda acid or soda acid in there, and put the cap on, then start it all over again. So they work fine till first charge ran.
Okay, so that's what that tank's
here's
for.
Water, you can replenish the water in here if you're pumping. These are made for small fires, and before you need the big.
So as soon as you get on scene, you could have hooked that up.
Small fires, kitchen fires, small automobile fires, this will work. House fires that are fully involved, don't waste your time.
Yeah, not so good. Okay, so that's what that tank's for.
Like I said, they put the engine number on there where I showed you all that. I don't think they stamped anything else. Just that your item.
Well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of Klepp's Garage. Remember, drive them if you got them. In this case, run to the fire and put the fire out. So thanks for coming along, and this episode's on the LaFrance.